Right, we're live, I think. Live at 5. I hope we're live. Right, I don't know how I'm going to get myself in this shot. It's quite close to that. Welcome back to Robertson Co. Welcome back to London. Hopefully I was in that. Right, tonight's live stream is going to be very brief. It's going to be about this little rolling mill, this little Durston rolling mill. Agile C70 and silver solder. Now this video is going to be deliberately very quick, brief. I've chosen something to do that's quite quick, and it might be quite bad quality because it's a bit of a test really. I'm uploading a video all about this little rolling mill, a main channel, a long form video. It's actually over an hour long. I got this, it's the start of February now. I got this back in November, and I kind of, obviously the festive period kicked in, but I did start filming it then, so then I went back to it and stopped and started and stopped. So it's a video over an hour long. It's a massive file. It's uploading as we speak. So that'll be, if you're interested in one of these, a Durston rolling mill, in particular one of these, or a mini mill, you're gonna have to sit for an hour. It's worth watching. Shit, I would say that, wouldn't I? You might be thinking, an hour's a bit long. You're right, it's a bit long. But anyway, the reason this video is going to be quite quick is I don't think I can live stream and upload a video at the same time, which I'm trying to do right now. So one thing's going to happen: either the live stream's going to there's either going to be problems with the upload or problems with the live stream, or possibly both. Anyway, what I'm going to do this evening is a little hint and tip. This is hard solder. It normally comes in much longer. I've cut these two pieces down. I just cut them into usable lengths. Normally comes, I want to say 600mm long, 500 or 600mm long. Now you can buy silver solder, jeweler's grade silver solder for soldering sterling silver in. You can buy it in different formats. So you can buy it in strips, long strips like this kind of stuff, or you can buy it in, comes on reels and wire. This is some wire here, which was on a reel. And this is, I've got a reel here. So wire reels. So yeah, it comes in different formats. That's obviously thicker. You can see that's thin, that's thick. But also you can get it in different grades. Hard, medium, easy and extra easy. And the different grades have different melting temperatures. Now this is hard. It's the closest melting temperature to silver itself. I think it has as an alloy, what they do is they take silver, fine silver, and mix it with lower melting point metals. I think it used to be, back in the day, they could use things like nickel, but here in Europe they can no longer do that, so it's probably things like zinc. Here's the hard being the closest in melting temperature to silver. I don't think that's why it's called, well, it might be why it's called hard, and why the easy and extra easy is because it's the hardest for beginners, that it's the hardest to use because it's the closest to the melting point. So it's the easiest to melt or reticulate or fire stain the silver if you get it wrong. But it is actually also the hardest, it's the thickest. They make this, the hard is much thicker than the strips of easy, extra easy, medium. Now, if you're a beginner, what I would recommend you do is use easy or extra easy to make your life easier when you're learning, because it's still a high melting point. I think it's still in the 700, it's probably still somewhere in the high 600s or 700 degrees, so it's still hot, but it's going to make learning easier if you use easy rather than hard, medium and hard, unless the only reason to use the harder ones at that point would be if you're doing multiple joints on one piece. You're going to need to use different melting. But if you're a beginner, the chances are you're not. Also, what I would recommend if you're a beginner is pick a format, whether it's wire or strips, and a grade, and stick to it consistently until you've mastered the art of soldering, because that is going to help you take out one variable. I mean, even if it's hard and strips, at least then all the solder joints are going to be, in theory, hard, and strip solder, then it's really you're worrying about the technique, not the grade of solder. Like if every time you use a different grade of solder, or maybe one time you use wire and next time you use strips, you're adding a variable, and it's going to be, even if you're doing it on the same size piece, it's going to be a different soldering job basically. So yeah, pick a grade. Easier is easy. The easier it is, the easier it is. And pick a format, stick to it. But this hard solder is really thick and quite hard to cut, quite challenging to cut into very small pieces. It's quite easy to shear off large bits, but if you want to cut off just a little tiny bit for a jump ring or something, it tends to get sort of, it's hard. So what we do is we roll this out thinner, and that means two things. It's easier to cut because it's thinner, but also because it's thinner, the smaller pieces are smaller, even smaller, you know, like 50% of the, so you know, you get what I mean. It's easier to cut because it's smaller, but it's also easier to cut smaller pieces because it's thinner. So like less weight, I guess, would be another way of describing it. So it is currently 0.58 mil, close to 0.6. It's probably supposed to be 0.6. So let's pop it through here, make a strip of it. I've only used this once before this sheet section, actually for the video, so. Another thing we're going to need to do, this roller mill's pretty new, covered in machine grease. So what we need to do before we use the solder is clean off any grease. So yeah, this should get thinner and longer. Let's see where we're at with it. Doesn't look that much thinner. It's quite hard to put through. It's important with actual sheet, probably important with solder as well, I think, to put it through in the same direction travel. It helps prevent splitting and cracking on actual sheet and wire. I see some jewelers put it through one way and pull it back through the other, one way or the other. We do, certainly with wire, rotate it 90 degrees each time we put it through, but I always put it through until it's been annealed the same direction. It's just a piece of advice someone gave me, and it does seem to help. Although I see a lot of jewelers doing the complete opposite, so. Right, let's see where we're at. Pretty much we're heading to half the thickness. Let's go for a little bit more, see if we can get it down to below 0.3. Pretty close there. I think we'll call that done. We've halved it in thickness and made it longer. Not that much, not wider, if anything, if any, but certainly they're about the same size. So we've halved the thickness, double the length, and that will now be much easier to cut, full stop, and much easier to get smaller pieces of the hard solder. But I am going to give that a good clean to get any grease and dirt off from the mill. It's a brand new roller mill. Right, that is it. Little hint and tip for hard solder. Roll it out, make your life easier. Right, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one, probably tomorrow. Hopefully a longer video. If our long video about this mill is uploaded, which will be coming soon. So toodles.